The belief is that after the explosion, the world is not as it once was. Something is wrong with the planet after this accident. The world has gone kind of topsy-turvy, upside down. So, in some way, this very real world becomes at the same time a very surreal world, where of course things are flickering inside the reactor. Things are flickering, and the fire is flickering, and we also in some way want to introduce that the elements are shifting. So within a scene, you can see that the atmosphere in a scene is changing in levels. Suddenly the room goes slightly dark within the scene, or suddenly the sun comes out and disappears within the same scene. So we try to make something dynamic and something unsettling. So we put the lights on dimmers and on digital shutters to have a very dynamic lighting approach. And we were kind of inspired in some way by the old Soviet murals at the time, where you see the atom, which is often symbolized as the sun with its rays, and you see the worker, the Soviet, standing next to the atom, working kind of hand in hand with the so-called friendly atom. And those murals was some kind of a reference point how to light the show. Often you can see that characters are getting, the closer they are to a danger area, more of a radioactive zone, the hotter the lights get, and often the sun starts to augment and start to increase in intensity, and people get more and more overexposed. And of course, this is fairly subtle, but it really gave us a roadmap on how to light the scene. And we had enormous help from ARRI Berlin and Christoph Hofsten at ARRI Berlin. He helped us with all the different lenses and were able to supply and to modify lenses that we want to try out. Early on, we thought actually to shoot the series on anamorphic, and we thought, let's shoot this with an Alexa Studio with a mechanical shutter. We thought some way we would do a portrait of the machinery of the Soviet Union to kind of represent the empire. And the best way to show the mechanics of the time and of the Soviet Union was to use lenses and a camera which was very, not mechanical as such, but very heavy. And we thought anamorphic glass would give the feeling of machinery, of the system, of the apparatus in some way. So that was the first approach. But then, after another 2-3 months of pre-production, we realized, maybe that's the wrong way to go, and we should actually, focus on the characters, on the human beings, the real people who were, who the series is about, the survivors. And then we thought, let's not become the apparatus, let's not become the state. Let's be a fellow human being somehow. And then we did a kind of U-turn, and of course we went for spherical lenses, which in some way are less obtrusive and are more subtle. And the same thing with we used a smaller mini camera, Alexa Mini, instead of the big mechanical shutter of the Alexa Studio. Yeah, we want to be flexible and to work fast, and even though we use many different techniques, where often the camera was on a remote head or on a crane or on Steadicam or tracks, but of course there were also scenes which are handheld, and we are moving in very small, confined spaces where a smaller camera is more flexible in a sense.